Tom, it's great to have you join us virtually on the banks of Loch Ness. I'm one of these runners that needs to have a target. I need to have a race in mind and then I train well. So what can folk like me do? How can you stay motivated when you don't have races on at the moment?
Yeah, and I will put my hand up and say I'm the same. I have, and particularly more as I've gone through my athletic life, more and more I've kind of found myself getting, goal motivated or outcome motivated. The evidence and the science or the research behind motivation is that in order for us to be fully motivated, we need both those external motivations, that race on the horizon where we have an idea of what we want to achieve, but we also, equally as importantly, or perhaps more importantly, need to be aware of and tapped into those intrinsic motivations. And it's the combination between the two that are critical. Now, the external motivation bit, which is I wanted to go and run X time at Loch Ness Marathon this year, for example, sure, that's been delayed. It's not been taken away. It's just been delayed. Our ability to focus on that as a short-term goal, it gets shifted. That becomes a longer-term goal now. So it is principally a case of reframing your goals. And it might be something as simple as, I'm going to test my body differently by perhaps getting out and running in the hills. I do all of my running on the flat, all of my running on tarmac. So I'm going to get out and run on the hills. And then underneath that kind of broad goal, you start to put in place what we might call some more kind of outcome focused goals. So not only going to run on the hills, but I'm going to go through the next month of training. I want to have run X feet worth of elevation across the course of the month, or I want to increase my running from 3 runs to 4 runs a week, but I'm going to do it gradually over the course of 2, 3, 4 months, or quite simply as I'm going to set myself a virtual time trial that I'll do perhaps over 5k or 10k, and I'm going to drop that in every perhaps 6 weeks, and I want to see myself moving forwards from it. So we just have to kind of go, okay, that's not being driven by somebody else anymore. We don't have that race, at least immediately on the horizon. We have to recreate that for ourselves. Combine that with those intrinsic motivations, which is the more subtle bit. It's why you run. And that's what I'm talking about. It's been lovely to see that check in again on, actually, I just love the feeling of running. It makes me feel more connected to myself. It's an opportunity to run with my partner, or I run around with a buggy and it's time that I spend with my daughter and it's a precious time. And you have to tap into both of those. It's just that we're not very good at doing that as runners. What we're good at doing as runners is going, I want to break 4 hours at Loch Ness Marathon.
In terms of training, is it ever too early to start thinking about your marathon?
I would get in early, and I promise you, if you enter the marathon a way out, 10 months, 11 months, 12 months out, that will be a motivator for you. It will flick a switch in your brain that will be with you when you pull on your running shoes and head out of the door. It will really help. So no, not at all. Of course, you don't want to burn out. You don't need to go out and be doing 20-mile runs every weekend between now and the marathon day. Of course you don't. So it's still a very patient process, but it is about having a purpose. It's about having a goal. It's about having a direction to travel, and it will really help with that. And there's nothing more motivating than 26.2 miles worth of running and knowing that it's going to come up eventually. So yeah.
Absolutely. Tom, it's been brilliant talking to you. Thank you so much for joining us.